Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The data of macroeconomics, lecture number 5 and chapter 2. In this lecture, our learning objectives are what. First of all, we will define that what is GDP and rules for computing GDP. So, first of all, what is GDP? The definition of GDP is gross domestic product is the market value of all final goods and services produced within an economy in a given period of time. So how can we compute this GDP? There are some rules for computing GDP. First is GDP combines the value of all goods and services in a single measure. For example, an economy produces 4 apples and 3 oranges. GDP equals 7 pieces of fruit. Is this right or wrong? So, here is an example. Let's suppose I am giving you an example of the US economy. Let's suppose the US economy produces many different goods and services: haircuts, cars, computers, and so on. GDP combines the value of these goods and services into a single measure. The diversity of products in the economy complicates the calculation of GDP because different products have different value. Here is an example of price of apple and quantity. If we have apples and oranges, then how can we calculate the GDP? Suppose I am giving an example that the economy produces 4 apples and 3 oranges. Then how do we compute GDP? We could simply add apples and oranges and conclude that GDP equals 7 pieces of fruit. I have discussed here. But this makes sense only if we think apples and oranges have equal value. If oranges and apple have equal value, then we will calculate GDP, add simply the oranges and apple. If the value of oranges and apples are different, then how can we calculate the GDP? So, to compute the total value of different goods and services, the national income account use market price because these prices reflects how much people are willing to pay for a good or service. Thus, if apple cost is rupees 0.50, I am highlighting also, rupees $0.50 and the price of orange is $1, then how can we calculate the GDP? There is a formula of GDP. The price of apple multiplied by quantity of apple plus price of oranges multiplied by quantity of orange. So here price of apple is $0.50 and price of orange $1. Then how did we simply put the value of price of apple 0.50 multiply quantity? The quantity is 4. Here is an example: 4 apple and 3 oranges. So 4 is the quantity. We will multiply 0.50 multiplied by 4 plus the value of orange is $1 and quantity is 3. So the GDP is 5.00. In the next slide, rules for computing GDP. If we use goods, then how can we calculate GDP? The treatment of inventory, intermediate goods and value added, housing service and other imputation. Let's discuss one by one. used goods. Let's suppose here is an example. Company makes and sells goods $2. I'm giving example of a company. Let's suppose a company makes a pack of baseball card and sell it for rupees 2. The $2. The $2 is added to the nation's GDP. But on the other hand, when a collector sells a rare card to another collector for $500, that $500 is not part of GDP. GDP measures the value of currently produced goods and services. The sale of the card reflects the transfer of an asset, not an addition to the economy's income. Thus, the sale of used goods is not included as part of GDP. The answer of this, which one is the part of GDP, I have discussed. The next one is the treatment of inventories. Here is two conditions. Suppose the bread production of any firm spoils affects GDP. The answer of this question, let's suppose, imagine that a bakery hires workers to produce more bread, pays their wages, and then fails to sell the additional bread. How does this transaction affect GDP? The answer depends upon what happens to the unsold bread. There are two conditions. Let's first suppose that the bread spoils. In this case, the firm has paid more in wages but has not received any additional revenue. So the firm's profit is reduced by the amount that wages have increased. Total expenditure in the economy has not changed because no one buy the bread. We have discussed the bread is spoiled. Total income has not changed either, although more distributed as wages and less as profit, because the transaction affects neither expenditure nor income. It does not alter GDP. Let's suppose the other condition is, now suppose instead that the bread is put into inventory, perhaps is frozen to be sold later. In this case, the national income accounts treat the transaction differently. How? The owner of the firm are assumed to have purchased the bread from the firm's inventory, and the firm profit is not reduced by the additional wages at his pay, because the higher wages paid to the firm's worker raise total income, and the greater spending by the firm's owners on inventory raises total expenditure. The economy's GDP rises. In this case, the economy GDP will be rising. The next case, what happens later when the firm sells the bread out of inventory? In this case, as much like the sale of used goods, there is spending by bread consumer, but there is inventory disinvestment by the firm. This negative spending by the firm offsets the positive spending by consumer. So the sale out of inventory does not affect GDP. The next one is intermediate goods and value added. We have discussed in detail the intermediate goods and value added concept. So let's suppose raw material are processed into intermediate goods. I am giving an example to clear the concept. Let's suppose many goods are purchased in stage. Raw material are processed into intermediate goods by one firm and then sold to another firm for final processing. How should we treat such products when computing GDP? Here is an example. For example, point number 2, suppose a kettle sells 1/4 pound of meat to McDonald's for $1, and then McDonald's sells you a burger for $3. Should GDP include both the meat and the burger, a total rupees of $4, or just the burger of $3? Which one is correct? And should GDP include this? The answer of this question is that GDP includes only the value of final goods. Thus, the burger is included in GDP, but the meat is not, because the meat is intermediate. GDP increases by $3, not by $4. Why? The reason is that the value of intermediate good is already included as part of the market price of the final goods, in which they are used. To add the meat would be counted twice. Hence, GDP is total value of final goods and services produced. So I have talked about the computation of GDP of intermediate goods, and the last one is value added $1 plus $2. The other way of to compute the GDP is value added, and this method is very simple to calculate the GDP. The value of final goods and services is to sum the value added at each stage of production. The value added of a firm equals the value of the firm's output less the value of the intermediate goods that the firm purchased. Let's suppose in this case the value added of the rancher is $1. Assume that the rancher bought no intermediate goods, and the value added of McDonald's is $3 minus 1 is 2. The total value is $1 plus $2, which is equal to 3. For the economy as a whole, the sum of all value added must equal the value of all final goods and services. Hence, GDP is also the total value added of all firms in the economy. So the last one is housing, services and other imputation. So we know that we calculate the GDP on market value, but if there are services, house services and other imputation, they have no market value. So how can we calculate the GDP of services and other imputation which have no market value? So first one, what is imputed value? Let's suppose most goods and services are valued at their market prices when computing GDP. Some are not sold in the marketplace and therefore do not have market prices. If GDP is to include the value of these goods and services, we must use an estimate of their value. Such an estimate is called an imputed value. When we use some estimated value instead of market value, this estimated value is known as imputed value. The second one is imputations also arise in valuing government services. For example, police officers, firefighters and senators provide services to the public. Assigning a value to these services is difficult because they are not sold in a marketplace and therefore do not have a market price. The national income accounts include these services in GDP by valuing them at their cost. That is, the wages of these public servants and are used as a measure of the value of their output. Simple, their salary. The last one is No imputation is made for the value of goods and services sold in the underground economy. The underground economy is the part of the economy that people hide from the government, either because they wish to evade taxation or because the activity is illegal. Example, let's suppose I am giving an example. Example includes domestic worker paid of the books and the illegal drugs trade. The size of the underground economy varies widely from country to country. In the United States, the underground economy is estimated to be less than 10% of the official economy, whereas in some developing nations such as Thailand, Nigeria, and Egypt, the underground economy is almost as large as the official one. Because the imputation necessary for computing GDP are only approximate, and because the value of many goods and services is left out altogether, GDP is limited. GDP is, in the other words, the GDP is an imperfect measure of economic activity. These imperfections are most problematic when we comparing standards of living across countries. Yet, as long as the magnitude of these imperfections remains fairly constant over time, GDP is useful for comparing economic activity from year to year.